eastern and southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. I'm Amelia Lee here with you on this Thursday, June 12th. We're at 5:30 this morning. Megan, I think what's really confusing me about the weather is just I now have allergies because it's cold in the morning. I don't know what's going on. It's June. What are we doing?
I don't know. I feel like it should be warmer, but I mean, according to records, normally we do sit in the low 60s around this time of year, but we are in luck because those low temperatures are warming up this week, even if the high temperatures are cooling down after today. So let's kind of break down this forecast, right? Again, normally we sit in the low 60s. Today we're looking at a mixture of the upper 50s and low 60s with a mid 60 popping out at Jackson and Monticello 66, and it's 65 in Lexington this morning. Now we'll head out into the afternoon. That's when we're seeing those upper 80s, and normally this time of year we are in the low 80s, so it's a little bit warmer than you'd expect. We also are watching some of that fog this morning. This is going to be a trend that we continue to see into the next couple of days. Looking at some dense patchy fog, so drive carefully if you do encounter any low visibility. Live pinpoint Doppler radar is nice and clear. We do have a very slight chance for some rain for our southwestern counties today, and I'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. Here's a look at that 12-hour forecast, though. Partly cloudy skies, high temperatures around that 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock mark. Amelia.
In Pulaski County, a man and woman were taken into custody after a high-speed chase and the discovery of illegal substances. Police arrested Kissian Cowan and Harley Gibson on Monday after Cowan drove off from a traffic stop and continued to drive away from police. Once stopped, a K-9 unit detected drugs in their vehicle. The detective found drug paraphernalia, meth, marijuana, and digital scales. Cowan and Gibson were both taken to the Pulaski County Detention Center. An inmate who escaped from the Three Forks Regional Jail in Lee County is in custody once again. State police say they found Jeffrey Harrison in Lexington. Troopers say Harrison escaped from the jail on May 30th. He was serving a sentence for promoting contraband. A federal theft and fraud trial for a Pike County Circuit judge has been pushed back. According to court documents, Howard Keith Hall's trial was postponed until November 10th. This comes after his defense team claimed the trial needed to be delayed because the case was too complex to put before a jury by July 14th, which had been that original date set. Hall was indicted in April on charges of mail fraud and theft of government funds. A Laurel County man pleaded guilty to possessing a gun after a shooting that happened earlier this year. William Malacote admitted to possessing a handgun while being a convicted felon. The situation is in connection with a shooting that happened at a shed near a home on US 25. Police say they found a man with a gunshot wound to the hand when they got there. They eventually found Malacote about a quarter of a mile away from the scene at a business off US 25. Deputies with the Laurel County Sheriff's Office are asking for your help finding a four-wheeler they say was stolen, as well as the suspect involved. If you look at your screen, you can see a picture of that four-wheeler. Deputies say it was taken from Witt Road. That's about 4 miles from London. If you have any information about where the four-wheeler is or the suspect involved in that theft, contact the Sheriff's Office at 606-864-6600. The Tony Turner Memorial Scholarship is given to a handful of mountain students each year in honor of former WYMT anchor Tony Turner, who died almost 23 years ago after a car crash in June 2002. WYMT's Caroline Mueller introduces us to Kaylee Roberts, one of this year's scholarship recipients.
Shining on stage and soon maybe on screen. Kaylee Roberts is charting a course from Clay County to the Ivy League, thanks in part to a scholarship rooted in Eastern Kentucky storytelling.
I think journalism is such a cool field. I don't really think there's anything like it. I mean, you can tell. I'm in theater, and theater is all about telling stories, whether they're real or made up. You know, somebody had to write that story down originally. So you're always telling somebody else's story, and you're bringing it to life, which I kind of think is similar to journalism.
The Clay County High School graduate says the $1,000 Tony Turner Memorial Scholarship is a game changer, especially as she prepares for life at Dartmouth College.
I was totally shocked. Getting that extra $1,000 was like, whew, like kind of a little bit of the weight off my shoulders. I was like, thank goodness. Like that really helped ease me a little bit.
Her former theater director, Donnie Stevens, says he's seen Kaylee's work ethic, leadership, and heart on full display for years and never doubted she would go far.
She gives people inspiration in a lot of different ways, and I just felt like that was something that I will always cherish and value. Her input to the program.
Stevens says her drive and roots make her a force wherever she goes.
Just because we're Clay County or we're from Appalachian, you know, Kentucky or whatever, that we can't be successful because we, for one, we've proven that you can be. And so that means a lot to me. And I think that'll be something that she takes with her as she goes too.
Robert says she is grateful to be part of Tony Turner's legacy and hopes to one day return to Eastern Kentucky to continue his work, possibly even right here on WYMT. In Clay County, Caroline Mueller, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, Kaylee also received the Ralph Gabbard Memorial Scholarship. We'll introduce you to the third Tony Turner Scholarship winner soon. If you missed the first profile, her story is on our website, WYMT.com. Rockcastle County school officials say they've seen a good start to their summer feeding program. The district serves more than 770 students. Each student receives 5 breakfasts, 5 lunches, and half a gallon of milk. Pickup dates continue each Tuesday through August 5th. Tenants at a Pike County apartment complex are asking for answers and accountability, saying their flooded homes have not been repaired and they're running out of resources. Renters say more than 50 families at the Tug Fork residential community are in limbo. They claim they were asked to leave the complex for remodeling efforts after the February flood hit many of those apartments. But they were told they have to keep paying rent and utilities. Some folks have been living in their apartments with walls torn out and flooding and flooring removed because they say they're out of options. Now they say they're once again being asked to leave.
They're desperate over here. They have nowhere to turn. Some people have nowhere to stay. People still live in there from the floods because they didn't have nowhere to live in the beginning whenever they asked them to leave for the repairs.
Well, we did receive a statement from the property owners saying the company recognizes how difficult and frustrating this has been for the residents. Transportation cabinet officials say one road in Lee County will be closed this weekend. Kentucky 1144 will be closed Saturday. That road will be closed at mile point 1.8 to replace a drainage pipe. They say the work will begin at 8 in the morning but should be finished by 4 that afternoon. If you are driving, you can use Kentucky 11 and Kentucky 498 as an alternate route. Kentucky's public media is potentially facing massive funding cuts. That's according to KET's website, and a new bill that could slash more than $1 billion in public media funding. They say the lack of funding wouldn't just force stations to scale back, but would dismantle essential services communities count on. The House is expected to vote on these cuts later this week. You can visit KET.org for more information. Governor Andy Beshear is celebrating the impact of tourism in the Commonwealth. The governor announced that 2024 marked a record year for tourism, generating more than $14 billion and supporting more than 97,000 jobs. The governor celebrated the announcement with tourism leaders at the Louisville Slugger Museum. A long-awaited project bringing a new conference center to Ashland is finally moving forward. The City Commission met Tuesday, voting to build the new facility next to the Paramount Arts Center. The city considered using a spot near the Delta Hotel, but Mayor Chuck Charles says it came down to cost, space, and proximity to the Paramount.
I see it complementing each other. Things that the events will happen at the conference center that also have the opportunity, to have a full theater right there beside of it.
The mayor says there is a need for more parking and hotel rooms downtown. He says a second phase may eventually include a new parking garage, and the city has acquired property for additional spaces. Fort Gay in Wayne County, West Virginia has new leadership. According to unofficial returns, Bob Sword received 63 votes to become the city's mayor-elect. The top 5 vote-getters in the town council race were Greg Cavins, Jamie Frazier, Wilt Sammons, Peyton Rowe, and Bobby Daniels. Those elected will take office July 1st and will serve a 4-year term. The Wayne County School District in West Virginia is already working on making improvements for next school year and beyond. Making their schools safer is a top priority. Administrators have been looking into for the next several school years. The board is asking for approval to make amendments on their comprehensive education facilities plan that the school submitted back in 2020.
Every 10 years, the districts prepare what's called a comprehensive educational facilities plan, and it's how they plan to improve the facilities in the district for the next 10 years. If we make any adjustments, as is always needed throughout the course of the decade, then we have to ask for an amendment to our plan, and the state board has to approve those amendments as well.
The school district will learn whether they are approved for funding on June 23rd when the State School Building Authority next meets. If approved, they can begin working immediately after, but that could take up to 6 months to finish. A pool in Wayne County, West Virginia opened for the summer season yesterday. Dreamland Pool in Canova is open. Guests are permitted to bring small coolers only, but no outside food. The pool also has a no re-entry policy, so once you leave the gates, you can't come back in. And remember, coolers and bags are subject to a search upon arrival. It's